We just had an absolute bombshell get dropped by Shams Charania, revealing that the Sacramento Kings are heating up their trade discussions for De'Aaron Fox. Now, given all the reports and rumors, this isn't something that is shocking to a lot of Kings fans, but it is wild to hear that this is actually something they're going through with. And the Spurs have been revealed as the team that De'Aaron Fox wants to get traded to, and frankly, there couldn't be another better trade destination for De'Aaron Fox to be interested in landing, because frankly, they have so many assets to actually have to trade with. So while it hurts, it sucks, it's brutal to see De'Aaron Fox likely on his way out from Sacramento. Given the fact he signed with Rich Paul, it's not something that's that glaring, that's shocking, but we have so many details to break down regarding this situation, how the Kings can make the most of this in this video. So let's just jump straight into it, because frankly, this is absolutely crazy, everything that's come out over the past hour or so. So basically, it starts off with Shams dropping this bomb, saying that just in, the Sacramento Kings expected to open up talks on potentially dealing away all-star De'Aaron Fox ahead of the February 6th trade deadline, sources tell ESPN. There will be plenty of suitors, but it's believed that Fox has a target destination in mind ahead of the 2026 free agency. Now, if you're not familiar with what's going on with De'Aaron Fox, everything that's happening, of course, there's been injuries. Of course, this Kings season has been a roller coaster, to say the least. But the thing on minds of a bunch of Kings fans this year is what's going on with De'Aaron Fox and his free agency situation, because he is a free agent not this upcoming summer, but the following summer. However, right now, this is when the Kings still have some leverage in order to get assets back in making a trade for a star player. You know, not just Kings. This is what happens the time when, you know, you have a year and a half left on the contract. It's when you could still actually drum up some value. So if De'Aaron Fox wasn't willing to sign an extension this summer, which all signs, all rumors, all reports indicated he wasn't that eager to, he wanted to see how the Kings season was going to go, if the team looked like it was going to be in contention status, how the sort of season was going to ride out. And of course, he didn't commit to becoming re-signing an extension if the Kings offered him a serious bag. And now this is what's come of it. The Kings need to get off of his salary. They feel like they do, in order to, you know, get some assets back, rather than him walking for nothing, you know, in the free agency in the upcoming years. And of course, this hurts a ton, because Fox is such a great player. He's such an impact guy out there at the PG position, but trading him now, if you know he's going to leave, he's probably going to leave. He has Rich Paul as an agent, so that's something you have to deal with to an even greater extent. But it does make logical sense as to why Monte McNair is going to make these types of decisions for the Sacramento Kings. So what's going on? What's the specific team in mind that Shams sort of alluded to? Well, we have insights into that, as well as basically Damian Barling has said that De'Aaron Fox will only sign a contract with two teams, the Sacramento Kings or San Antonio Spurs. Now, we've made videos, obviously, been a little hiatus the last couple of weeks, back in the mix here now, but basically, the De'Aaron Fox doesn't adamantly want to leave Sacramento. He doesn't hate the city, doesn't hate anything like that, but of course, he's not willing to commit to being in Sacramento long term, just because he wants to be on a winning team, which a lot of star players usually sort of have facing them. So basically, the Spurs as well as the Sacramento Kings are the two teams that he'd be willing to sign an extension with. And basically, the top report on top of it from James Ham, according to multiple sources, if De'Aaron Fox leaves the Kings via trade, his preferred landing spot is the San Antonio Spurs. It could be an interesting couple of days in Sacramento. So this does not mean the Spurs are the only trade destination for De'Aaron Fox. Of course, he wants to play with Wemby if he's going to get traded to another team. You don't blame him. That could be a very interesting squad. Annoying team to deal with out there in the Western Conference, but it's a team that does make sense for De'Aaron Fox to want to go to. High upside, superstar teammate, yada, yada, yada. They also have a ton of draft picks, which we'll discuss, which we'll talk about. But I do want to say this. I want to make this clear. The Sacramento Kings can trade him anywhere. I know Rich Paul is going to throw his weight around, going to do this stuff, but the reason you're doing this now, rather than the summer, rather than next year's trade deadline, is because the Kings have the leverage right now. The extra value for these teams trading for him, you know, getting him for an extra season and a half rather than waiting to free agency, that is serious value, and it allows the Kings to be able to, you know, if the Spurs are going a bit cheap on their offers, if they're being a little bit light, you know, in terms of their trade negotiations with Monte McNair, he can say, hey, let's go a different direction. Let's go with a different team. Let's see what other teams. De'Aaron Fox is going to command a serious market out there in, you know, when he's out there in trade talks. Of course, teams like the Houston Rockets have been rumored for him in the past as well. There are a ton of teams that would be interested in acquiring De'Aaron Fox. So a bidding war can arise. And while that's the case, and while, there's any team that can go out there, the Spurs are a team that does make sense for the Sacramento Kings to actually be trade partners with. So, just to, Evan Sideri illuminated some stuff out there in the situation. Although Fox prefers the San Antonio Spurs as his next team, it will cost a significant price for the Spurs to make it happen. The Kings will very likely require one of San Antonio's premier blue chip prospects in Stephon Castle or Devin Vassell in order to complete the deal. And of course, you want more than that if you're the Sacramento Kings. You don't just want Castle. You don't just want Vassell. Of course, Castle, he's awesome. He's a guy that is probably going to win Rookie of the Year. There's different players out there in the mix and things like that, but he's 20 years old, averaging 12 points per game, 2.5 rebounds, 3.6 assists. And while his three-point shooting hasn't come around just yet, he's an athletic slasher, and he is one of the best defenders out there in the draft. Him out there in your backcourt, him and Vassell are both too good, both sides of the floor players. But Stephen Castle, Devin Carter out there in the backcourt as a young defensive kind of tandem could be very, very intriguing for the future of this organization. While, there are concerns about his shooting, right? You see the reality of all the three-point shots that are going on right now. He does take enough threes to where it's not too worrisome, but he only shoots 37% on even the corner threes, so it's not great, his shooting splits here right now. But of course, is only 20 years old, is an elite athlete, has solid playmaking skills, and it's a nice combo guard that could be a nice piece for the future for the Sacramento Kings. So Stephen Castle would be a very, very cool piece. But the thing that's most intriguing about the Spurs as a trade destination is they have so many draft picks to play with, to facilitate, to make some moves. Now, the Kings, I think they can make a deal like this and still round out the roster, build up some depth, which is a reality of things that needs to be fixed, added to this Kings team. But, if they are trying to build for the future, I don't think the Kings should enter a full tilt rebuild. There's still Sabonis on this team. There's still a lot of guys that are valuable pieces. Malik Monk. This is a team that doesn't need to bottom out, but if you can get, the Atlanta Hawks pick, that was first overall last year, the Spurs pick, they do have a couple Chicago Bulls, Charlotte Hornets picks, 4 first-round picks in just this year's NBA draft. They have their own first next year. They have the Atlanta Hawks swap rights. They have a bunch of seconds out there. And frankly, all of the picks they have, it took 3 screenshots on my laptop full tilt to bring them out, right? 2027, they have their own. They have the Atlanta Hawks. They have multiple seconds. 2028, they have Boston's. They have their own. 2029, and then a bunch of seconds out there too in 2028. Then 2029, they have their own pick, more seconds. Then they also have, going deep into 2030, they have Dallas's or Minnesota's. They have their own pick. They have Sacramento picks, our own sort of Sacramento pick swap rights, so they could get those back. They have their own pick, Minnesota pick in 2031, and I believe, the Dallas or that was the 8th pick in this year's draft. So they have a lot of guys. They have a lot of assets. They have a lot of pieces to be able to be moved in a De'Aaron Fox trade. So while it sucks to see all this stuff end up coming out, while it's a reality that a lot of Kings fans saw when he signed with Rich Paul, and some of those quotes are coming out at the start of the season, it's not like jarring or shocking, but it just sucks to see. It sucks to see, but hopefully Monte McNair can negotiate his way to a really, really nice package for Sacramento. We'll see how things end up playing out, but let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. Anyways, we're signing out. Cheers.